In the world of U.S. coins, some pennies are so ordinary that most people ignore them without a second thought. But what if one of those everyday pennies from your pocket could suddenly become something collectors search for under bright lights and magnifying glasses? What if a simple 1988 penny with no mint mark could turn out to be more interesting than it first appears? Today, we are going deep into the story of the 1988 Lincoln penny, what makes it special, what confuses many collectors, and whether it can really be valuable. The 1988 Lincoln penny is one of the most commonly seen coins in American change. It features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. At first glance, there is nothing unusual about it. It looks like millions of other pennies made in the late 1980s. But this coin has gained attention online and among beginners in coin collecting because of one simple detail that often causes confusion: the absence of a mint mark. To understand this, we need to step back into the history of how U.S. pennies were made during this time. In 1988, the United States Mint produced Lincoln pennies at multiple facilities. The main ones were Philadelphia and Denver. Coins made in Denver carry a small D mint mark under the date. But coins made in Philadelphia do not have a mint mark at all. That means a 1988 penny without a mint mark is not an error by itself. It is actually normal for coins produced in Philadelphia that year. This is where many people get misled. Some believe that a missing mint mark automatically means a rare or valuable error coin. In reality, for most U.S. pennies, including the 1988 Lincoln cent, no mint mark simply means it came from the Philadelphia Mint exactly as intended. The 1988 penny was created during a time when the U.S. Mint was producing massive quantities of coins to support everyday commerce. These coins were not made to be rare or collectible. They were made to be used in vending machines, cash registers, and everyday transactions across the country. The design itself had already been in use since 1959, when the Lincoln Memorial reverse replaced the wheat ears design. By 1988, the coin had become a standard part of American pocket change. One of the most important features of the 1988 Lincoln penny is its metal composition. Earlier pennies, especially before 1982, were made mostly of copper. But starting in 1982, the mint changed the composition due to rising copper costs. The 1988 penny is made primarily of zinc, with a thin copper coating on the outside. This gives it the same familiar look as older copper pennies, but it is much lighter in metal value. The front of the coin features Abraham Lincoln, designed originally by Victor David Brenner. This portrait has become one of the most recognized images in American history. On the back, you see the Lincoln Memorial, and if you look closely, you can even see a tiny seated Lincoln statue inside the building. That small detail is something many people never notice, especially on worn coins. Now, let's talk about what actually makes a 1988 penny interesting to collectors. While the standard version is extremely common, there are a few special cases that can increase attention. These include minting errors, high-grade uncirculated examples, and rare misprints. Mint errors are the most exciting category. These happen when something goes wrong during the coin-making process. For example, a coin might be struck slightly off-center, leaving part of the design missing. Some coins may have a clipped planchet, where the edge looks like a piece has been cut away. Others might show a strike-through, where grease or debris interferes with the design, creating weak or missing details. There are also cases of doubling, where parts of the design or date appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during striking. However, it is important to know that major and valuable double die errors on the 1988 penny are not commonly known compared to other famous Lincoln cent years. This means that while errors can exist, they are not something you will easily find as a major treasure in circulation. Condition also plays a huge role in value. A heavily worn 1988 penny is worth exactly 1 cent. But a coin that has never been used in circulation and has been carefully preserved can be graded by professionals. In very high mint state conditions, such as MS-65 or MS-66, the coin might be worth a few dollars to collectors. In even higher grades, like MS-67 or above, prices can sometimes reach tens of dollars, and in rare cases, a bit more depending on demand and eye appeal. Still, it is important to be realistic. The 1988 Lincoln penny is not a rare date in the Lincoln cent series. Millions upon millions were produced. So the idea that a regular 1988 no-mint mark penny is suddenly worth hundreds or thousands of dollars is a myth that spreads online but does not reflect real market conditions. There have been auction sales where exceptionally high-grade examples or coins with strong errors sold for higher prices, but these are the exception, not the rule. Most collectors who buy 1988 pennies are looking for quality, not rarity. They might pay a small premium for a beautifully preserved coin, but not a life-changing amount. So how can you identify whether your 1988 penny is special or just normal? The first step is to check the date clearly. It should read 1988. Then look directly under the date for a mint mark. If there is a D, it came from Denver. If there is nothing there, it came from Philadelphia. Again, that alone does not make it rare. Next, examine the coin closely under good lighting. Look for anything unusual in the lettering, the face of Lincoln, or the Lincoln Memorial. Any unusual bumps, missing parts, or strange alignment could suggest an error. Also check the edges and shape of the coin. A perfectly round coin is standard, but odd shapes can indicate minting mistakes. Another important tip is to avoid cleaning the coin. Many beginners make the mistake of polishing old pennies, thinking it will increase value. In reality, cleaning a coin almost always reduces its collector value because it damages the natural surface and removes original mint luster. There is also a lot of confusion caused by online listings and viral videos claiming that common pennies are worth huge amounts of money. While it is true that some rare Lincoln cents have sold for impressive prices, those are usually specific error coins or extremely rare varieties from other years, not a standard 1988 penny. One interesting fact about the 1988 Lincoln cent is that it represents a very late period in the traditional copper-look penny era. Although it is mostly zinc, it still carries the classic appearance that people associate with older American coins. It is also part of a series that has been in continuous production for over a century, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Collectors often enjoy the 1988 penny not because it is rare, but because it represents everyday history. It is a reminder of how money looked and felt during the late 1980s, a time before digital payments and smartphones changed how people handle cash. Holding one of these coins is like holding a small piece of that everyday past. Today, serious coin collectors might include the 1988 penny in a complete Lincoln cent collection. In that context, even common coins become important because they help complete the full timeline. Without them, the collection would feel incomplete. In the end, the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is not a hidden jackpot in your pocket change. But it is still a meaningful piece of American coin history. Its value lies more in its story than in its price tag. And for collectors, that story is often what matters most. So the next time you come across a 1988 penny, take a closer look before you dismiss it. While it may not make you rich, it might just connect you to a fascinating chapter of everyday American life, hidden in something as simple as a 1-cent coin. At first glance, it looks like just another ordinary penny sitting in your pocket. But what if I told you that a simple 1991 Lincoln cent with no mint mark has confused collectors for years, sparked online rumors, and made thousands of people believe they might be holding a rare treasure worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars? Before you rush to check your change jar, there is a surprising truth about this coin that most people don't realize. The 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is not a mysterious error in most cases. In fact, it is usually exactly how it was meant to be struck. But the story behind it is far more interesting than most people expect, and understanding it can save you from one of the most common coin collecting misunderstandings. The coin we are talking about is the 1991 Lincoln Memorial Penny, part of the long-running series that began in 1959. On the front, it features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. On the back, it shows the Lincoln Memorial Building, a design that was used from 1959 all the way until 2008. This design is so common that most people barely give it a second thought when they see it in circulation. The 1991 penny was produced in massive quantities by the United States Mint. Millions upon millions were made for everyday use in commerce. These coins were never intended to be rare collectibles. They were made simply to keep the economy running, appearing in grocery store change, vending machines, and bank rolls across the country. Now here is where the confusion begins. Many people notice that their 1991 penny does not have a mint mark and immediately assume something is wrong. They think a mint mark is always supposed to be there, and if it is missing, it must be a rare mistake. But that assumption is not entirely correct. In 1991, pennies struck at the Philadelphia Mint typically did not carry a mint mark. This means that a large number of 1991 pennies naturally come without any letter at all under the date. So when you find a 1991 penny with no mint mark, in most cases, you are simply looking at a standard Philadelphia issue coin. Nothing unusual happened during production, and nothing is missing. To understand this better, it helps to know how mint marks work. In the United States, coins are produced at different mint facilities. The main ones are Philadelphia and Denver. Coins made in Denver carry a D mint mark, while coins from Philadelphia either carry a P mint mark or, in earlier decades and certain coin types, no mint mark at all. For Lincoln Pennies, Philadelphia did not consistently use a mint mark during this period, which is why many coins appear blank under the date. So why do people still believe the 1991 no mint mark penny is rare? The answer is simple. It comes from confusion and misinformation spread online and through word of mouth. When people hear no mint mark, they often think it means error coin, but in reality, most of these coins are perfectly normal. The 1991 Lincoln penny itself is made primarily of copper-plated zinc. By this time, the United States had already changed the penny's composition from solid copper to a cheaper metal core due to rising copper prices in the early 1980s. So while older pennies might have more intrinsic metal value, the 1991 penny is mostly zinc with a thin copper coating, giving it the classic copper appearance we all recognize. On the obverse side, Abraham Lincoln's portrait remains one of the most iconic designs in American coin history. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial includes tiny details, including the seated statue of Lincoln visible between the columns if you look closely with a magnifying glass. This level of detail is one reason collectors still appreciate these coins even though they are modern and common. Now let's talk about rarity and value, because this is where expectations often collide with reality. A regular 1991 no mint mark penny in circulated condition is worth exactly 1 cent. Even in uncirculated condition, most examples are only worth a few cents to maybe $1 or $2 depending on quality and demand. There is no widespread rare variety of this coin that suddenly turns it into a high-value collectible. However, there is one exception that always gets collectors excited: mint errors. While the absence of a mint mark is not an error for Philadelphia coins, other mistakes can occur during production. These include off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. If a 1991 penny shows one of these rare errors, its value can increase significantly, sometimes reaching tens or even a few $100s depending on the severity and condition. For example, a 1991 penny with a strong double die effect on the lettering or date might attract collector interest. Similarly, a dramatic off-center strike that still shows a full date can be desirable. But these are rare exceptions, not the norm. Some people have claimed online that they sold a 1991 no-mint mark penny for thousands of dollars. In almost every case, these claims are either misunderstood coins, heavily misrepresented listings, or confusion with completely different rare varieties. Serious coin auctions and grading services consistently confirm that standard 1991 pennies are common circulation coins with minimal premium value. So how can you tell if your 1991 penny is special or just ordinary? The first step is to look at the date and confirm it is indeed 1991. Next, check under the date for a mint mark. If there is no letter, it is likely a Philadelphia issue and completely normal. Then examine the coin closely for unusual features. Look for doubling in the letters, misalignment, cracks, or any signs that the coin was not struck properly. A simple magnifying glass or smartphone zoom can help. It is also important to compare your coin with known genuine examples. Many collectors use reference images or grading guides to confirm whether what they are seeing is an actual error or just normal wear and tear. Wear from circulation can sometimes look like an error at first glance, especially on older coins that have passed through thousands of hands. Here is a surprising fact that many people do not know. Even though billions of 1991 pennies were made, very few are saved in pristine, uncirculated condition. Most were spent, lost, or damaged over time. This is why high-grade examples in perfect condition can still attract small collector premiums, even though the coin itself is not rare. Another interesting detail is how the perception of value changes over time. In the early days of online marketplaces, many common coins were listed with exaggerated prices simply because sellers did not fully understand their rarity. This helped spread myths about coins like the 1991 no-mint mark penny being extremely valuable. In reality, professional grading services and auction records show a very different picture. Collectors still enjoy coins like this, not because they are rare, but because they are part of everyday history. The 1991 penny represents a time in modern American coinage when billions of identical coins were used across the country. Each one passed through countless transactions, carrying small pieces of daily life with it. Coin collecting is not always about finding something worth a fortune. Sometimes, it is about understanding the story behind something ordinary and realizing how much history can exist in a single cent. The 1991 Lincoln Penny reminds us that not every coin with no mint mark is a hidden treasure, but it can still be a small piece of a much larger story. Today, collectors appreciate these pennies for what they represent rather than their market value. They are easy to find, easy to study, and perfect for beginners learning how to identify mint marks, errors, and coin conditions. For experienced collectors, they serve as a reminder that not every coin needs to be rare to be interesting. So the next time you come across a 1991 penny with no mint mark, take a closer look, but keep your expectations grounded. You are most likely holding a very common piece of American currency, not a life-changing discovery. But even common coins have stories worth telling, and sometimes that story is more valuable than the coin itself. And that leads to an interesting question. If a coin this ordinary can generate so much confusion and curiosity, what other everyday coins in your pocket might be hiding stories you have never heard before? What if the penny in your pocket, the one you barely even notice, was quietly worth thousands of dollars? All because of a tiny detail most people have never heard of. A single small difference in a letter spacing on the back of the coin could turn 1 cent into a life-changing discovery. And that is exactly what makes the 1992 Lincoln Penny one of the most talked about modern coins among collectors today. This is not just any penny. The 1992 Lincoln cent was minted in Denver, and at first glance it looks completely ordinary. It has Abraham Lincoln on the front, just like millions of other pennies. It is small, copper-colored, and easy to ignore. But hidden inside this coin's story is a rare variety that can turn a common penny into a highly valuable collector's item. To understand why, we need to go back to the early 1990s. The United States Mint was producing Lincoln cents at a massive scale. These coins were meant for everyday use, passing through millions of hands in vending machines, cash registers, and pockets across America. The goal was simple: make durable, low-cost coins for daily transactions. The Denver Mint, marked by a small D under the date, played a major role in this production. By 1992, the Lincoln Penny had already been around for more than 80 years. The design on the front, featuring Abraham Lincoln, had remained one of the most iconic images in American coinage. On the back, the Lincoln Memorial design continued to honor the 16th president in a way that millions of Americans recognized instantly. But something subtle was happening in 1992 that would only be discovered later by careful collectors. That detail involves the design of the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse of the coin. On most standard 1992 pennies, including those from the Denver Mint, the spacing between the letters A and M is slightly wider. This is known as the wide AM design, and it is what the Mint intended for circulation coins. However, a very small number of 1992 pennies were struck using a reverse design meant for proof coins. Proof coins are special collector coins made with extra care, sharper details, and different design elements. On these proof-style reverses, the letters A and M in America are closer together, creating what is known as the close AM variety. Here is where things get interesting. A few 1992 pennies from regular production, including some from the Denver Mint, accidentally ended up being struck with this proof-style close AM reverse. These are not supposed to exist in circulation. They were minting mistakes, created when dies were mixed or used incorrectly during production. First, nobody noticed. These coins circulated normally, mixed in with billions of other pennies. People used them to buy gum, soda, and newspapers without any idea that a tiny design detail made them extremely rare. It was only years later that coin collectors began studying the 1992 Lincoln cents closely and discovered this variety. The 1992 D close AM penny is especially significant because it is far rarer than the standard version. While millions of regular 1992 D pennies exist, only a very small number of the close AM variety have ever been confirmed. This makes it one of the key modern Lincoln cent errors that collectors actively search for today. Now let's talk about what makes this coin valuable. In normal circulated condition, a regular 1992 D penny is worth exactly 1 cent. Nothing more. But if you find a 1992 D close AM variety in verified condition, the value can jump dramatically. Depending on the condition, grading, and authenticity, these coins have sold for thousands of dollars at auction. In some exceptional cases, high-grade examples have reached prices ranging from several $1,000s to even tens of thousands. One reason for this high value is rarity combined with demand. Coin collectors, especially Lincoln cent specialists, are constantly searching for these hidden varieties. When a confirmed example appears at auction, competition can become intense. Collectors are not just buying a penny. They are buying a piece of minting history, a mistake that was never meant to escape the production process. Another important factor is condition. Coins that are uncirculated, meaning they were never used in daily transactions, are far more valuable than worn ones. A sharp, clean 1992 D close AM penny with strong details and original shine can reach significantly higher prices than one that has scratches or damage. So how do you identify a real 1992 D close AM penny if you ever come across one? First, you need to look at the reverse side, specifically the word America. Focus on the spacing between the letters A and M. If the letters are touching or very close together, that is the first sign you may have something special. On normal coins, there is a clear gap between them. Next, check the mint mark. A small D should be visible just below the date on the front of the coin. This confirms it was minted in Denver. Then, compare your coin carefully with known examples of the wide AM and close AM varieties. Even small differences in spacing can matter, so collectors often use magnification tools to inspect the coin closely. But be careful, because not every unusual penny is valuable. Some people try to create fake errors by altering coins manually. They might try to modify spacing or even damage the coin to make it look rare. These altered coins are not valuable and are usually easy for experts to identify. Professional grading services can confirm whether a coin is genuine or not, and this step is essential if you think you have found a rare variety. There is another fascinating detail about 1992 Lincoln cents in general. This was during a time when the United States Mint was transitioning in materials. While earlier pennies were made mostly of copper, modern pennies like the 1992 issue were made with a zinc core and a thin copper coating. This change helped reduce production costs, but it also created new possibilities for minting variations and errors. Collectors are especially drawn to coins like the 1992 D penny because they sit in a sweet spot of modern coinage. They are not ancient, but they are old enough to have hidden mistakes and rare varieties that were not widely documented at the time of production. This makes the hunt for them both exciting and challenging. One of the most surprising facts about the 1992 close AM variety is how recently it was discovered compared to when the coins were actually made. For years, these coins passed unnoticed through circulation. It was only through careful examination by dedicated collectors that the difference was finally recognized. Even today, new collectors are often shocked to learn that such a small detail can create such a big difference in value. So why do collectors love the 1992 D Lincoln penny so much? It is not just about money. It is about discovery. It is about the idea that something ordinary can hide something extraordinary. It is about the thrill of checking your change and wondering if you might be holding a rare piece of history without even knowing it. For many collectors, coins like this represent possibility. Every roll of pennies from a bank could contain a hidden treasure. Every handful of change could be worth more than expected. And the 1992 D close AM penny is one of the best examples of that idea in modern U.S. coinage. As time goes on, these coins are becoming even harder to find. Many have already been discovered and removed from circulation, but experts believe there may still be a few out there waiting to be identified. That uncertainty keeps collectors searching. In the end, the 1992 D Lincoln penny is more than just a small copper-colored coin. It is a reminder that value is not always obvious at first glance. Sometimes, it hides in the smallest details, waiting for someone patient enough to notice. So the next time you come across a penny dated 1992, take a closer look. Because in the world of coin collecting, even 1 cent can tell a story worth thousands. And who knows, the next rare discovery might already be in your pocket, waiting to be found. Have you ever wondered if a penny sitting in your pocket right now could be worth far more than 1 cent? Most people spend pennies without a second thought. They fall between couch cushions, collect dust in jars, and disappear into cash registers every day. But hidden among millions of ordinary coins, some Lincoln pennies have caught the attention of collectors for surprising reasons. One of those coins is the 2006 D Lincoln penny, a modern coin that many people overlook but that continues to attract interest from collectors across America. The 2006 D Lincoln penny was struck at the Denver Mint and carries the small D Mint mark beneath the date. At first glance, it may look like any other penny in circulation. It features the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Yet this simple coin tells an interesting story about modern American coinage, collecting, and the possibility of discovering something valuable in everyday change. To understand the importance of the 2006 D penny, we first need to look at the long history of the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It became the first regular circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. Before that, American coins typically displayed symbolic images such as Lady Liberty. For nearly a century, Lincoln's portrait remained on the penny. By 2006, the design had become one of the most recognizable coin designs in American history. Millions of Americans handled Lincoln cents every day, making them one of the most familiar objects in the country. The 2006 D Lincoln penny was produced during a period when the United States Mint was making billions of cents each year. The Denver Mint struck more than 4 billion Lincoln pennies in 2006. Because of that enormous production number, many people assume every 2006 D penny is common and worthless beyond face value. In most cases, that assumption is true. A heavily circulated example is generally worth only 1 cent. However, coin collecting is rarely that simple. Condition, rarity, minting errors, and special characteristics can dramatically change a coin's value. The front of the 2006 D penny features Abraham Lincoln facing right. Around the portrait are the words "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 2006. Just below the date sits the small D Mint mark, indicating it was struck in Denver. The reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This design was used from 1959 until 2008. If you look closely, Lincoln's statue can actually be seen inside the memorial. This tiny detail makes the Lincoln Memorial cent unique among U.S. coins because the same person appears on both sides of the coin. The composition of the 2006 D penny is also interesting. Unlike older pennies that contained mostly copper, this coin is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. The coin weighs about 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. This change in composition happened decades earlier because rising copper prices made traditional bronze cents too expensive to produce. Although billions were made, collectors often search for 2006 D pennies in exceptionally high grades. A coin that has never entered circulation and still displays its original mint luster can be surprisingly difficult to find in perfect condition. Tiny scratches, contact marks, and handling damage can reduce a coin's grade significantly. Professional grading services examine coins under magnification and assign numerical grades. The highest grades are reserved for coins that show almost no imperfections. When a 2006 D penny receives one of these elite grades, its value can increase dramatically. Some examples graded at the very top levels have sold for many times their face value. While an ordinary circulated coin may be worth only 1 cent, a certified high-grade specimen can sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars, depending on market demand and the exact grade assigned. Another reason collectors pay attention to the 2006 D-penny is the possibility of mint errors. Mint errors occur when something unusual happens during production. These mistakes can transform an ordinary coin into a collectible item. One type of error collectors search for is a double die. This occurs when parts of the design appear doubled because of the way the die was created. On some coins, letters or numbers may appear slightly duplicated under magnification. Collectors also look for off-center strikes. These happen when the coin blank is not positioned correctly during striking. The result is a design that appears shifted, leaving a blank area on one side of the coin. Other possible errors include die cracks, die chips, clipped planchets, and broad strikes. While not every 2006 D-penny contains these features, examples that do can command significant premiums from collectors. Imagine finding a penny in your spare change and noticing that part of the design looks unusual. To most people, it might seem like damage. To a knowledgeable collector, it could be evidence of a genuine mint error worth much more than 1 cent. Over the years, collectors have reported various 2006 D-pennies with unusual characteristics. Values vary widely depending on the type of error and its visibility. Minor errors may sell for only a few dollars, while dramatic examples can attract much stronger prices. One reason modern error coins are so popular is that they are still occasionally found in circulation. Unlike rare coins from the 19th century, a modern penny can theoretically appear in everyday change. That possibility keeps many collectors searching through rolls of coins from banks. There are also examples of exceptionally preserved 2006 D-pennies selling for impressive amounts at auction. While most examples remain common, top population coins graded at near-perfect levels have attracted strong collector interest. The combination of rarity in condition and demand from registry set collectors can push values much higher than most people expect. Registry collectors compete to assemble the finest known examples of every coin in a series. When only a small number of coins achieve the highest grades, competition can become intense. As a result, a seemingly ordinary modern penny may sell for surprisingly large sums. If you think you have a valuable 2006 D-penny, knowing how to identify an authentic coin is important. Genuine examples should display clear details, proper weight, and the correct mint mark placement. The coin should have the standard Lincoln Memorial reverse used during that period. Counterfeits are less common for modern pennies than for older rare coins, but altered coins do exist. Some individuals attempt to modify dates or mint marks to imitate more valuable varieties. Examining the coin carefully under magnification can help reveal signs of tampering. Checking the coin's weight is another useful step. A genuine 2006 D Lincoln cent should weigh approximately 2.5 grams. Significant differences may indicate damage, alteration, or a counterfeit piece. For potentially valuable coins, professional authentication is often the safest option. Reputable grading services can verify authenticity and assign an official grade. This process gives buyers and sellers greater confidence in the coin's value. The 2006 D-penny also contains several fascinating details that many people never notice. For example, the Lincoln Memorial reverse design remained in use for nearly 50 years. That makes it one of the longest-running reverse designs in American coin history. Another interesting fact is that billions of pennies are produced each year, yet only a tiny percentage survive in truly pristine condition. Even though the mintage was enormous, finding a perfect example can be surprisingly challenging. Many collectors enjoy searching bank rolls specifically for modern Lincoln cents. They carefully inspect each coin for unusual features, high grades, and mint errors. What appears to be a simple penny hunt can become a treasure hunt filled with excitement and possibility. The coin also represents the final years of the Lincoln Memorial design. Just a few years later, the reverse design changed to celebrate the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth and the 200th anniversary of his presidency. This places the 2006 D-penny within the closing chapter of an important era in U.S. coinage. Collectors love the 2006 Lincoln Penny for several reasons. It is affordable, easy to find, historically connected to one of America's most respected presidents, and occasionally available in remarkable condition. It offers beginners an accessible entry point into coin collecting while still providing challenges for experienced hobbyists. There is also something appealing about the idea that valuable coins may still be hiding in ordinary places. Unlike rare gold coins locked away in museums, Lincoln cents continue to circulate through everyday life. They pass from hand to hand, often unnoticed, carrying stories of American history with them. For many collectors, the thrill is not simply the potential value. It is the search itself. Every roll of pennies holds the possibility of discovering an exceptional specimen, a rare error, or a coin preserved far better than expected. That sense of discovery keeps the hobby alive. It transforms a simple 1-cent coin into something far more meaningful. The 2006 Lincoln Penny may not be the rarest coin ever made, but it demonstrates an important truth about collecting. Rarity is not always determined by age alone. Sometimes condition, errors, and collector demand create value in unexpected places. So the next time you receive change from a store or spot a penny lying on the ground, take a closer look before you ignore it. Check the date. Look for that small Denver mint mark. Examine the details carefully. You might be holding a coin worth only a cent, or you might be holding a fascinating piece of modern numismatic history. And that is what makes the 2006 Lincoln Penny so intriguing. Billions were made. Millions still exist. Yet a select few continue to surprise collectors with their rarity, condition, and hidden potential. Somewhere out there, another remarkable example may still be waiting to be discovered, hiding in plain sight among the pennies that most people never bother to examine.